Jane, every NFL general manager is a gambler. It's the nature of the job. But Howie Roseman, he plays a different game. He's not at the poker table. He's betting on ghosts. And his latest wager on Jaelan Phillips might be his most audacious one yet.
A ghost, Joe? I see a phenomenal talent. Let's ground this in reality before we get too philosophical. The Eagles just sent a 2026 third-round pick to the Miami Dolphins for edge rusher Jaelan Phillips. This is a classic Howie Roseman move. Go get a high-ceiling pass rusher for a team that believes, right now, it can win a Super Bowl.
And that's the sales pitch. The reality is they're betting on a player who has suffered 2 consecutive season-ending injuries, a torn Achilles in 2023, and then after a grueling rehab, he tears his ACL just 4 games into the 2024 season. This isn't just bad luck, Jane. This is a pattern, a terrifying pattern for a guy who makes his living exploding off the line of scrimmage.
Patterns can be broken. And let's not forget the story before the injuries. This is a player who was so dominant at the University of Miami, he became a first-round pick. In his first 2 full seasons with the Dolphins, he racked up 15.5 sacks. When he is on the field, he is an absolute game wrecker. You can't teach that kind of athletic ability. It's the kind of talent that wins you championships.
But the best ability is availability, and that's where the ghost comes in. This isn't just about the recent injuries. You have to go back to UCLA, back to 2018. This was a 5-star recruit, the top prospect in the country, whose career was over before it began. Multiple concussions forced him to medically retire from football. He walked away from the game.
And that's what makes his story so damn compelling. He didn't stay retired. He found his passion for the game again, transferred to Miami, and rebuilt himself from the ground up. That tells me everything I need to know about his character. He's faced the football abyss and climbed his way out. He said himself that those early trials better suited him for the adversity he's facing now. An Achilles tear? An ACL? For a guy who thought he'd never play again, that's just another mountain to climb.
It's a heroic narrative, I'll give you that. But a heroic narrative doesn't sack the quarterback on 3rd down. A 3rd-round pick for what could be a half-season rental is a steep price for a story. He's on the last year of his deal, a 5th-year option worth over $13 million. If he walks in free agency, what have you gained?
You've gained a legitimate threat opposite Nolan Smith. You've given your defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who coached Phillips in Miami, by the way, a weapon he knows how to use. You're signaling to your locker room and the entire league that you are all in. For a team like Philadelphia, with an aging core at some positions, the window isn't wide open forever. This is the move you have to make. Howie Roseman isn't playing for 2026. He's playing for this February.
Okay, let's analyze it from that angle. The all-in move. Roseman has a history of this, right? Swinging trades for guys like Achilles in 2017, which paid off with a Super Bowl ring. But he's also traded for an aging Robert Quinn or Kevin Byard, guys who were non-factors. The line between genius and desperation is razor thin. What if this move is less about Phillips and more about the pressure Roseman is under to maximize this roster right now?
I think you also have to look at it from the Dolphins' perspective. Why are they willing to part with a 26-year-old former first-round pick for a day 2 selection? They're looking at a potential rebuild after a disappointing season. They're looking at that injury history and the massive long-term contract he's going to command, and they're choosing to cash out. They're playing the long game while the Eagles are playing for the here and now.
Exactly. 2 franchises on 2 totally different trajectories, making a deal that perfectly suits the respective anxieties. Miami is anxious about the future, Philly is anxious about the present. And Jaelan Phillips is the man caught in the middle.
But what a man to be caught in the middle. This is the ultimate high-risk, high-reward move. If his body fails him, it's a bust, a wasted pick, and a hole on the roster. But if that surgically repaired leg holds up and he rediscovers that explosive power that made him a top 20 pick, Joe, he could be the single piece that puts that defense over the top. He could be the reason they're hoisting another Lombardi.
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? What is a championship worth? Are you willing to bet on a player's medical charts, on his resilience, On the ghost of the player he once was and the hope of the player he could be again? Howie Roseman just pushed his chips to the center of the table and said yes. We're about to find out if the gamble pays off.
Forget ghosts, Joe. This is about belief. Belief in modern medicine, belief in a player's heart, and the belief that a single calculated risk can change the destiny of a season. I, for one, can't wait to see it play out.
This podcast combines verified reports with expert analysis and narrative storytelling. Some dialogues may be dramatized for clarity, but all facts are sourced from credible media.